All right. What's up, everybody? My name is Chris Mayer, and you're tuned in to The Bit Show, the Boston Indies talk show and happy hour, of course, presented by Boston Indies, Boston's home for independent games. This is going to be the last episode of Season 2 of The Bit Show. We'll be back in about a month. But, yeah, should have a great show. Gwen Frey is here tonight. And I'm just going to give out a couple of quick announcements, and then we'll get started. Actually, one quick announcement. There's not a lot going on this week. Hopefully everyone checked out the Boston Unity Group C# tutorial thing last night. Turns out programming very important to making games. I think everyone should learn how to do it, at least a little bit, figure out how to make some stuff, get your work out into the world. Anyway, Pioneer Valley Game Developers having a game night on the 4th. I just put a link in the chat. And I'm also going to drop the link to the Boston Indies Twitter and the Slack and all that stuff in there, so you can follow along. And when we resume bit shows at the end of the month, you'll know what's going on. Zapdot linking some voting links in the chat. Registering to vote is a good thing to do. I highly recommend that. Check those links out. Yeah, that's basically it for me. We'll probably do some kind of an office hours event in mid-October, so follow us on Twitter and check that out. If you have any feedback about what sort of content you would like to see from us in while we're not running bit shows, just drop me a message on the Slack, slack.bostongamebit.com. Anyway, now I'm rambling, so let's get it started.
Let's go!
And we're live.
Hey.
Hello.
Hey, Cheryl. Well lit as always. Look at you.
Thank you. I do try.
Oh,
I didn't bathe, but I did light myself.
that's really what we need in this modern age. Lights are the new personal hygiene. Lights and a good microphone are really your new window to the world.
Well, the one on the left is UV, so I'm pretty much covered on the.
You're not going to get scurvy.
What?
Excellent. UV, you got a
Okay.
full spectrum.
No, just UV. I think you get extra scurvy with UV lights.
Oh,
I don't know.
good. I look forward to that in season 3. As Chris said, this being our last episode of this season with this fictitious divisions we made for the excitement of rhythm and time. To give us time to, I don't know, come back with something big in season 3. But we're sure ending it big here tonight, season 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gwen.
Yeah. Gwen will be on it in a bit.
The Gwen. We don't know what Gwen Bond, Gwen Frey.
Yeah.
Bond.
These and
Frey.
more questions maybe answered.
Yeah. I think we got some tough questions for her today. Like in the pre-show, we started to talk about, past products, what she did right, what she did wrong. And then I was like, no, wait, save it for the show where we get to be kindly skewering everything that she did despite
We got to the part where you were yelling, "How dare you!" at her, and we decided it'd be best to save it. So.
I opened with that. Hey, Gwen, how dare you?
Those were your first words on Earth.
Probably.
How's your week though? How about you, Ichiro?
I'm hanging in there. I gotta say, look, I'm gonna be honest to everybody. I am not doing too well because it is like the world crushing in on me, and it's not so nice to be able to talk to you, Ziba, and Chris, and Gwen, and to everybody here. It's kind of like a little retreat from it, where I'm not, trapped in my house with alien viruses outside. Do you have like Ziba? How are you? You're away.
I can appreciate that. I mean, we're doing this show every week is also one of the weirder new things we've done because of quarantine, but also it's this connection to the most normal and joyful center of my pre-quarantine life, and so it's this connection to all of you, which helps me not feel like the whole world just flipped and disappeared. You're still out there, and we're still able to communicate with each other and be a bit of a community, and I really appreciate that.
Cheers to y'all.
Cheers. I finished my drink. Cheers.
Wow, you actually got me to do a spick take. That was amazing.
In more positive news, I mean that's positive. In more frivolous news, I printed out 3-foot tall poster board cutouts of my nephews and put them for my parents, and they're horrifying. They're fine when you look at them, but when you just round a corner, there's like a 3-foot tall baby.
Yeah.
Even though you know when you round that corner it's going to be there, you cannot.
You
stop.
cannot. Right. It's just like what is
surprise.
it? Jimmy Kimmel did that to his cousin on his show. She was like, she worked on the show, and every time she rounded something, there was like a a wax Jimmy Kimmel. Did you use print shop or a rasterbator to enlarge the images?
But I'm going to avoid your odd question.
No, it's not. It's not. Rasterbator was actually, yeah.
I don't know. I used GIMP to cut them out, and we sent them to like overnight life-size cutouts.com or something.
So this was serious. You didn't just use a docs. And I bet Trevor
will
at least remember.
Spent like $200 to get these things shipped overnight and whatnot. It was my mom's birthday. That was what was going on.
Oh, that's really nice. And
I was going to visit her, and she was like, "We don't want to see you. We just want the nephews." So I printed out the nephews. Problem solved.
Good deal.
Anyway, that's my banter for the week. That's enough of this non-game dev stuff, because we got a community out there that's been doing great things.
Let's showboat.
All right. Fire it up. What's first?
All right. So Drake Hollow. We've been talking about Drake Hollow for a while. Someday we'll have Forrest on. His team over in Newton, Massachusetts, over at Molasses Flood. Essentially, Drake Hollow, which, as Gwen mentioned on the pre-call, defies single-line description. Therefore, I don't feel bad flubbing a single-line description, where I would say it's sort of like, imagine Tim Burton plus base building plus little radish people that you're trying to save. And it is coming on Steam tomorrow? Today.
It's out right now. You can buy it.
Go and buy it. It's too late to wish list it. You done missed that.
You can always wish list and then buy. I don't know if that makes any sense.
I don't know.
Do it. Support this awesome group. Next up, Bacon Man is on Switch. Bacon Man from Sky Map Games, our friend Neil and his buddies have been working on this for so long. It's nice to see them on Switch. They're such a talented team that have been pouring their hearts into this for a long time. I believe Neil became a vegetarian during the making of this game. I don't know the exact sequence of events there, but that to me says it must be a sort of powerful emotional journey here. So great. It's a platformer, a shiny, pretty looking one. So go grab that.
Ziba, have you played HR?
Yeah. Neil's also my employer, so buy Bacon Man.
Chris is now talking junk about Neil. So Neil, if you're out there. Ziba, have you played HRO, Human Resources Officer?
I have not, but it really looks like my jam.
Okay, I have played it, so I'm going to tell you all a little bit about it. Imagine a visual novel, except good and mechanically substantial. It's basically sort of like, I mean, you can see it's about sort of Star Trek-y thing if you see the slide there, but everybody is fucked in the head. I don't know if I should say it like that, but I love like everybody's like got a weird agenda, and you are trying to figure out what's going on behind the scenes. And I don't want to spoil it, but I can tell you that it was satisfying in a way that the plot sort of trusted you to make mental leaps and connections and so forth and so on. So Eric needs play testers. My voice is going. Got to be the COVID. So, if that's your jam, hit him up.
I should. And everybody should. Also, next we got Mark Aldrich is back with some more demo of his AI. And every time I see this, I both get excited and want to run around and write some AI. But I just keep thinking about more work for Chris and bringing this AI into our talk show set here and having some sort of sentience to all the characters flying in the sky.
I was pretty close to doing it over the weekend, but instead I put in the laughing emote. So there you go.
Oh, I can't tell if anybody heard that, but Chris, instead of doing that, did laughter. Oh, okay, there we go.
Yeah, so good job, Mark. It's fun to see these things. Keep at it.
Plunder Dome is Team Aton's battle royale. So basically, you log on to Twitch while they're playing it, and you click a button on the right and say, "Hey, I want to play too," and you jump in. And I would describe it as being like Hunger Games, roguelite maybe, battle royale. And basically, what happens is that you go around this arena, capturing pickups and drops, and meanwhile lava sort of like comes in on the edges, and then Chris Foster or Sheriff kill you, and that's the end of the round.
Dope. We shall be playing that too.
And they're going to be running a session of that tomorrow night at 6:00 if people want to check that out on their Twitch. Twitch.tv/Fire.
Is that 6? Is that 6 Eastern or Vermont time?
I believe it's Vermont time.
Okay, good.
I'm in Central right now. You have no idea how many times I did the math wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I just started setting alarms and begging people to remind me when to do it. I don't know why.
Well, you're here.
so
It's
hard for me.
fine. No, it's totally cool.
It's 1 hour difference. I should be able to figure it out.
I've had meetings where people are like, "What time?" No, it's who's ahead, who's on first. Don't worry about it. Also, you've been drinking.
Sure. Did you want to tease a?
I didn't just want to tease. I wanted to put out a call. So I've been, Valve wanted to do a visit and buy us all hors d'oeuvres over at the Middle East, but the Middle East closed down, and then Boston closed down, and Valve ain't coming anywhere physically. Which, fine. I still think they should buy us the hors d'oeuvres and the drinks because 30%. But as you know, Alden and Molly and Sophie, formerly Bostonian Sophie Mackey, whom we all know and love, want to do a sort of like a Zoom call with a bunch of folks here in Boston. So we figured out that if you've got a game coming up on Steam in the next 12 months, or if you have a game already on Steam, what have you, then join in and be part of this. I'll send a message out to probably the Boston Indies group, and then also I'll post it on the Slack when it comes time to like figure out who's who and what's what.
Well, that's very exciting. Thank you, Chiro, for championing that. I'm looking forward to some more d'oeuvres showing up in my mailbox.
I know, right?
Yeah. We have the technology. It's really not that hard. I don't understand why more people aren't just sending food around to each other all the time as a way
pizzas.
to express love.
Like, hey, I just did you order 10 pizzas?
Yeah. Everybody post your address in the chat, and I'll send you a pizza, guaranteed.
That is the second. Ziba is the Bob Newhart of the indie game scene in Boston. Discuss.
Anyways, let's get on to the whole reason we're here, the more exciting part of the show. Our guest, today's guest, has over a decade of professional game development experience. After years of heavy lifting making games like BioShock Infinite, she co-founded a successful indie studio, The Molasses Flood, decided that wasn't enough, and founded another successful indie studio, Chump Squad. She is a tech artist, an animator, an engineer, a designer, a CFO, a CEO, and voted most likely to found a third indie studio before this interview is over. Please welcome Gwen Frey.
Wow, guys. All right, that's interesting.
But clearly, first, congratulations on the wedding. How do you change your name?
Oh God, that's a complicated thing. Yes,
it's Ian now. We've discussed this.
Yes, I'm Ian Frey now. No, I did get married. I changed my name legally, but I think I might still go by Gwen Frey at least for a while in game dev stuff, because I don't know how not to. Like, my YouTube channel is Gwen Frey the TA. My email is, I shouldn't say my email live on Twitch, but like everything has my last name. And I don't know how to change that. It's actually kind of weird. It's weird to think about.
Yeah. One more gender burden we throw around that I don't have to think about.
I'll figure it out at some point. But for my legal name is Gwendolyn Bond.
I love that. That's actually really. Incidentally, when you do stop squatting Gwen Frey, I think one of us should take it.
That's true. I wonder if I could get like GwendolynBond.com. I shouldn't say that either, because now some intrepid Bostonian is going to go snipe that.
I'm sure they'll be nice.
And somebody can, yeah. Well, we've done that kind of stuff before to good effect, like lovingly
sniped each other's names. Yeah. I think the best thing I ever locked down was ChumpSquad.com. That was a big one.
I like how you're Chump Squad, but it's basically like mostly you.
Well, you shouldn't name your company what you are. You should name your company your aspirations.
Oh,
right?
Oh.
But I don't consider you to be a chump either. You're like one of the, like, I look up to you as far as biz dev goes, and so should everybody else. So it's like,
there's this
Chump Squad mean to you then? I'm sure it doesn't mean that you're a chump.
No. It's a kind of a long story, but you have to understand a lot of things about AAA development. Like I was working on BioShock Infinite. We were near the end of the project. It was one of those times when like the new management came in. They wanted to shake up the structure of the company, and they came up with something called the squad system. That was about, I want to say that happened about a year and a half before launch or so. They came up with the idea of a squad, and a squad is like a task force that would have like a programmer and a designer. There'd be things like the Liz squad, which was in charge of making sure Elizabeth did lifelike things throughout the entire game. And so we came up with these squads, right? So that's one thing to keep in mind. Squad is an interdisciplinary group that handled a thing. Many years ago, back when I first joined BioShock, we didn't have, the AI were too complicated to have more than 7 on the screen at any given time. They were just really heavy. There was a lot of code to them. And we wanted to have a lifelike world. And Liz was one of the AI. So if you can imagine, you're running around, there'd be Liz, and at any time there'd be 6 other AIs spawned, even if you didn't see them ever. And we wanted to have a world that felt full, so that wasn't going to work. And so I came up with something called a Chump. It's just a skeletal mesh that plays an animation, and maybe it would head track you. And I set up all the scripting for this, and this is my big job at Irrational Games. I came up with all the background characters, put them in a library, filled the world out with people, right? Like that was my job. I was the person who was in charge of chumps. And everybody knew this. Okay, so we're near the end of, I told you this is a long story. We're near the end of production, and for reasons, they wanted to give this one writer a promotion. They wanted him to feel good. And so they decided that they would make him in charge of a squad. And they decided they would make him in charge of, they pulled me and him into a room, and they said, hey, Gwen, we know you've been doing chumps. You've done absolutely everything with the chumps. You're doing a great job. We've decided that we want there to be, this is a very important part of the game, having background characters that are good. We want to make a chump squad. And Joe Fielder is going to be in charge of chump squad. And I was like, I mean, like I had been crunching at this point. I was tired. I was like, fine. So do I stop doing stuff with them now? Like, no. And I'm going through, I'm like, wait, so do I place them in the world anymore? No, Joe will place them in the world. And Joe's like, I'm a writer. I don't know.
Joe's a writer.
Yeah. He's like, I don't want this. Like Joe was really mad and freaked out. He was like, you want me to open the editor? I'm a writer.
I can't imagine Joe mad. I don't know him super well, but he's like, so.
He rejected the whole thing outright because he was like, this is weird and bullshit. And I just want to go write. What is going on?
We can write this script that places shit in the world, Joe.
Yeah. And it's just like, okay. So they were about to make a squad, and they were about to put Joe in charge of it. And the entire reason they were going to make this squad was to give Joe responsibilities. They can't just like make the squad and have it be me in charge of Joe. That's not what they were trying to do. And they can't make the squad and have me alone, apparently. So they decided, we went back to our desks, and several hours later, there was an email that was sent out to the entire studio. Like, we're talking like the entire studio and all people who are like affiliated, like working remotely, contracting, absolutely everybody. And the email goes, Gwen, Chump czar. And in it outlines, it's like, sometimes there's a task that's important and it should have a squad, but there's only one person on it. And so there's only one person for that task. And so for in these instances, we will call them czars. The first czar at Irrational Games is Gwen Frey. She is czar of the chumps. And that was it. I was on the org chart, I swear to God, they had a fucking org chart with like the name of the squad lead, and then the squad for like 8 different squads, and then over in the corner just said Gwen Frey, czar of the chumps. Like,
no, that's a great story.
Oh,
they
yeah.
never made another czar.
Yeah.
Ever.
And then they just
own that and live that. Yeah.
I did. So I was sitting here, I was like, I'm going to make my own company. I'm alone again. But I didn't, and I thought like, the reason why, if you look at my logo, it's a czar crown, right? And I was thinking I would be the chump czar again. But then I was
don't know
like,
what a czar crown looks like until you mentioned it.
Yeah. See?
So it's basically either a toast to or a middle finger to Irrational. But you don't have to say which, and I won't believe you either way.
Nah, I just thought it was a funny story and it meant something.
Oh, it's a good story.
I think it's great. It really encapsulates, like, I mean, because, you know, my little research for the show, I go through your LinkedIn and I stalk you, and like your whole career is you like just taking on more and more responsibilities. And so if you're now a solo company, to be calling it like, yeah, to own that moment where they were like, I know you're at the center of things and we have to acknowledge it because you're so in the middle of this thing, but it's just you rocking it. That just seems perfect now that you describe it that way.
But I didn't want to be the chump star is the thing. That's why I called it Chump Squad. Because
Now
like
you are the chump squad. You're on the brute
Yeah.
squad. I am the brute squad. You're the chump squad.
well, the thing is like I don't want to be the chump star. You should name your company what you want it to be, right? Like you should dress for the job you want, not the job
I
you
named my company Dejoban, which I always tell people is the Greco-Nordic god of games and entertainment, and I always get one of two reactions. And my reaction from you, Gwen, is
Well, you're prompting for a reaction here.
yes, I am.
Oh, I thought you were. I thought
You
you
were looking
like.
for your impression.
I thought there was like an internet problem.
Yeah.
There are many internet
Like-
problems. It's called the internet.
His space phrase? I don't understand.
Anyway, so my point is that like I'm with you on that, but now I can't go back 21 years and rename my, or maybe I can. All right, no, this is about you. Let's talk about Kine
we
because
could talk
Kine,
about Dejaban. Jesus, it's fine.
I talk about myself all the time. You fucking hear me every 2 weeks. Pardon, I shouldn't.
You
swear
heard
so
our
much.
self-indulgent banter section at the
No.
beginning of the show. We do that every week.
We are allowed to curse here, right?
No,
Hell no.
you're not.
I like how I reached for a curse word and came over the hell. It's like that was a really weak example.
Heck and damn sticks.
Oh heck
Listen,
yeah, you can swear. Gosh.
Like golly gee, Gwen.
Oh, don't you know?
Don't you? Oh, yes, you can swear as much as you like. And I know.
This is Boston, right? Like we're in.
It's
I'm in
yeah.
Chicago right now, actually.
Oh, that's weird.
Oh, that's my hometown. All right, good. Tell them I said hi. It's Central Time, by the way. Let's. Ziba had.
You set up Chump Squad. That's our segue to like, yeah.
Kind
So
of.
you're saying you don't want to be the czar of Chump. What do you want Chump Squad to be? Is Chump Squad being what you want it to be? Where are you on that journey?
Oh, I don't know yet. I mean, I think I don't. I made Kine largely solo initially, and so I had that. And when I founded this, I was like a solo dev when I founded this studio. But I really do enjoy working with other people. And I think right now, like for my next game, a thing I knew I wanted to do was work with somebody else, anybody else. I don't mean to put it like that shit. Like I don't really aspire to be a solo developer, right? Like I love working with other people. I just think there's a creative energy that happens when you feed off of ideas with other people. And so when right now I'm making a game, my next game, Lab Rat. I started out from the beginning. It was a game jam I was working on with a friend.
Somebody has the. We didn't take the trailer, the announced trailer, which is pretty good. Essentially, oh, there we go. And perhaps Chris can post the link as well. However, it's I mean, sort of dystopian plus puzzle plus, and it turns out Gwen's VOing it and is quite good at that as well. So, like,
That's definitely an experiment.
studio head, animator.
Oh, you're going into
programmer,
actors now. Oh.
and then like VO actor. That's 4 chumps.
Yeah. Well, you have to wear a lot of hats when you go indie. This is known.
I've heard that. Yeah.
Is there a limit to the number of hats? Have you found the hats you don't want to wear?
Good question. Anytime I do any one thing for too long, I start to really hate it. So it's good to have a lot of hats. I feel like I spend about, I think I've just been over the last couple weeks, like 4 or 5 weeks, spending way too much time doing marketing, biz dev, pitching. I feel like I spend more time campaigning than I do making games.
Yeah. How's that been going? How do you like it? What do you hate?
I hate rejection, Ichiro. Rejection sucks. I'd say I hate that the most, if we're being real honest.
Okay. So when you say rejection, you've been hitting up publishers and platforms and like.
Platforms and publishers, yeah. I think I hit up some platforms before I should have, like way too early, before I had art for that game. Like that, I should have had that trailer before I hit up anybody. But I didn't. I hit everybody up way too early, so there was that. And then I was hitting up publishers, and they're like, it's going to take like 3 months at least before they can give me a yes or no. And I'm like, I don't have that kind of time. I'll admit I'm being a real princess about some of this stuff, but like,
No, I'm with you.
like I can't sit around and wait 3 months for you to decide if you want to work with me or not. This is a 1-year project. You know what I mean? That's a significant, and if you're going to wait till I'm at least 6 to 9 months in and then take 3 months to decide, by that point, I've already self-funded.
You're done your ship, right?
Like,
Yeah.
there's no, like this, what you're seeing right here, I started on this late March, right? And I intend to ship it late Q1 maybe next year, around there. So like the lag, the amount of time it takes, you have to get something to a certain amount of polish before anybody will talk to you. And by the time you've hit that level of polish, you don't need the money anymore. It's a frustration I have in general with funding.
Do you have a better idea how we could all do this? You can change the publishing system into some way that isn't just give us money. Do you have some sensible solution for this?
Does this sound like a segue to me?
I wish, like, because the other thing I do is I moonlight for Wings. So I actually
tell us about Wings. That was on my question list.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, Wings is a fund that invests a certain amount of money into indie games. I could go way too into it, but basically, Wings is I don't want to call it a publisher. It's a fund in the same way like Indie Fund exists, except Wings will only invest in games made by marginalized genders. The thesis is that, say for instance, women are an underserved market, and the right way to tap into that market is to have games that are made by women. Women are more likely to know how to tap into this underserved market, and are less likely to be invested in, as well as other minorities and people who are marginalized in other ways experience something very similar. And so initially when Wings was founded, it was founded with a board of entirely women with the intention of it being only for women. And now I think we're thinking about how we'll expand that, possibly creating a board for, the long-term plan was to create other boards. I'm just going on and on at this point. But like the point is I moonlight for them. I'm on, at some point I look at games for them. How do I put it? They would say I'm on the selection committee. So like, this is a fund. They have people who collect game pitches. They root them down to like a handful, and then I look at like 5 or 6 pitches a month, probably divided into like two meetings.
It sounds like they've got a much more, to you and to me, much more interesting return on investment they're looking for. They're looking for people, marginalized genders, to do well and to achieve things, and that's the main return they're looking for. Is that right?
No. See, the weird thing about Wings is it is actually profit motivated. Like they are only interested in funding games that will make money, which is really, how do I put it? If you want to fund indie games, and you will only fund indie games that have a decent chance of making money, and you're not a publisher, so you can't do the heavy lifting for marketing, for instance, like if you don't bring a community in the same way Devolver does, or like a real, not real, but like a publisher brings like a community and a certain amount of marketing support and a certain amount of help and so forth. A fund doesn't bring that. And so we can only invest in people who have games that we think will be profitable and that we think can make their games profitable on their own. And also like in the number of people in the world that can do that is already pretty small.
Sure. And
then like also only from marginalized backgrounds. And so it's actually really hard to find game pitches that fit that.
Yeah.
And yeah, it is very much profit motivated. It's I mean, I think that part of the thesis, how do I put it? We go back and forth on this sort of thing, but I think part of the thesis is that there's, it's just not like an equity initiative, like a grant program or something like that. It is very much a publisher. They still very much do get a cut at the end.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I want everybody I work with to be profitable. It sounds like I like their, I don't know if you call it a side motive or whatever else theme they have going on. It sounds better than your average financial pursuit in games.
It is definitely, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of different ways to pitch it, and I'm not really good at pitching these sorts of things, but I do like that it's, if you want to pitch a game and you want to know that the fact that you are a woman is not a detriment in any way, Wings is the place you can pitch to.
Speaking of pitches, you just segued yourself into something you were talking about before the show. You wanted to practice your lab rat pitch a couple times, maybe even.
All right, so we're gonna actually toss it out to the audience here as well, who have been very quiet. So let's shake it up. Are you doing one pitch or are you doing multiple and doing A/B testing? Do we have to like
SHO!
the audience for
No,
this?
Can we do
That was a joke. I'm not ready to pitch at all.
Oh,
You never are.
I know. I'm not used to saying the words. I'm not used to like saying out loud what Lab Rat is. I made a trailer. Trailers.
You want to do it? It's a good audience for it. Very
Okay.
forgiving.
way to put her on the spot. Okay.
You don't have to. You just told
No,
me
we
you
will. Okay. Lab Rat is a satirical puzzle game. It's a game that I'm looking at it on the screen. It's a narrative puzzle game. There's a machine learning algorithm named Sarah who's trying to generate. Shoot, I'm already failing at this. It's a satirical puzzle game. A machine learning algorithm is trying to generate a game to keep you entertained. And as you play, this machine learning algorithm is studying what you do. It's monitoring you. It's profiling you. It's recording different metrics about your playthroughs as well as everybody else's playthroughs. It's also asking you survey questions at the end of each puzzle. And based on your survey responses and survey responses of everybody else on Steam, it's coming to darker and darker conclusions about humanity. And so this is kind of what the game is. It's a game that you're playing alone, but you're playing it alone at the same time as a lot of other people. And you can
The dark souls of puzzle games.
Is there really a group thought information gathering component that somehow changes or unlocks things?
I don't want to spoil too much about that. It doesn't change or unlock too much, really. But like there is very much, you are very much being shown the metrics of other people that are playing. When you're playing a puzzle, you can see the Steam tags of everybody else that's currently playing that same puzzle as you. At the same time, when you complete surveys about the game, you can see how other people responded as well. You can see polls and that sort of thing. You can see if you're playing a particularly hard puzzle, you can see that not many people have completed it and that sort of thing.
Kreth mentioned having people do their formal pitches as regular part of the show would really be cool. So we could just bring a random person on the spot each week and have them do their pitch as we have done for Gwen.
I think that means that people like your pitch, Gwen. They enjoyed being pitched to.
Yeah.
Being pitched to.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, and we're just about out of time. So staying in the spirit of pitches, what would you like to close and pitch with right now at this moment? Like where can people connect with you? Or where can they wish list Kine on Steam?
Several things. So a big thing for me is actually Kine. Kine is coming out in October 19th. It's very soon. This is my baby. I launched this game about a year ago on the
Epic exclusive, right?
Epic exclusive, but not anymore. It's coming to Steam, and I really need your wish list. So if you could go to find.
I want your wish list. Give me your wish list.
You told me to pitch. I'm pitching it.
Pitch it.
This is a narrative puzzle game about three little machines that dream of being musicians, and it's their story as they meet and find a band. It's a spatial puzzle game. It's difficult, but it's fun and it's lighthearted, and it should make you smile. So check it out. Wishlist it if you feel like it. It would mean a lot to me. If you want to follow my work, you can follow me on Twitter. I'm Dire Goldfish on Twitter. What else? Yeah, that's probably the best place to follow me. I'm also, if you are here on Twitch, I'm also Dire Goldfish here on Twitch.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Gwen. It has been a delight having you here and taking the time to show us all the amazing things you're working on. And we're all going to go wishlist your stuff and eagerly wait for your next stuff and hope that someday we can all bask in the glow of the Chump squad you've dressed for.
Thank you, Gwen.
All right.
And that, I think...
Just because there's a happy hour.
There is a happy hour. There's a happy hour coming up, so y'all go to the Slack. Chris is going to say this, or maybe he won't. I don't remember anymore. But also, this is going to be like this is our last show for a while, until maybe we could have Valve on, and we're sort of debating whether to have Valve in this format.
Is that going to be like a public chat? I thought that was just going to be like a Zoom call or something.
Yeah, it might be. I don't know. I don't care. I don't like whatever we want it to be because we're awesome and can do anything.
Yeah, I was planning on returning on the 29th of October. Maybe, kick off season 3 with a little Halloween special.
Ooh.
Huh?
Ooh. All right, we'll figure something out.
Yeah.
Until then, it has been our absolute joy to be all up in front of all of you people watching us. Thank you.
Thank you. We want to see you in the chat. Zoom.
Thank you, Chris.
Yeah, so I'll post a link to the happy hour Zoom link in the Slack channel in just a minute. And yeah, that's going to do it for BitShow Season 2. Thanks, everyone, for joining us. It's been a pleasure making this weird virtual talk show set thing for all of you. Thanks again to Gwen for joining us. Let's give Gwen another round of applause here. Yeah, that's right. And yeah, we'll see you in a few weeks on the Bit Show. Right here, let's play the intro one more time and close it out.
Let's go!